As part of my learning journey in Rust, I have encountered this page, which is about the slice type. However, in this video, I don't want to talk about the slice type because I don't know yet much about it. But what I want to do instead is to show you how beautiful it can be to learn adjacent concepts when you try to learn, let's say, a main thing. In this situation, I'm trying to learn the slice type, which, as I said, I don't know much about it yet. But as part of this challenge, basically, this page is based on a challenge, which says that you have to write a function that takes a string of words and you have to return the first word. The challenge isn't important. What is important is that I have tried to implement this myself, first of all, and I copied this this code so as to have some boilerplate. And at some point, I have discovered, I have seen this token here, which seemed a bit unfamiliar to me. And after some research, I have discovered that it is called the byte literal. And there is also in Rust the concept of byte literal string. And inevitably, I have encountered this table, which looks very useful. It essentially provides, I would guess, all of the ways you can use strings in Rust. And what I want to show you is this thing that I have encountered in the documentation, which is a byte. So I would guess that byte and byte literal are interchangeable. And what it's also nice about this table is that it also shows you all of the characters that are allowed within this string and also the escapes. We can see in this case that basically what's between those single quotes is a byte. There is also the byte string, which I think is a bit more interesting because it is essentially a sequence of bytes. But what I found interesting and what also made me make this video is that, for instance, if I copy a character from the Unicode table, let's say this one, which should have more bytes in its composition, I would expect. I don't know yet how to check this, but I think that would be an interesting topic. So by copying this symbol, which is non-ASCII, so it shouldn't be allowed to be used within such string. Let me see, let me show you what I mean about this. So now I have created a byte string. So technically this is supposed to be just a sequence of bytes. Now if I try to add this character here, I'm already prompted with an error which says that byte literals must not contain non-ASCII characters. Basically, the problem is that I'm using a non-ASCII character, whereas it is clearly mentioned that all of the characters inside this string must be ASCII. And I thought that was very nice that the LSP can show me such errors. Although now that I think about this, now that I just said what I said, it doesn't look like rocket science, but I found that was cool, because now if I remove the byte token, I have no longer an error. However, what I also want to show you in this video is to show some first thoughts, ideas about accessing string characters in Rust. So if, let me delete this for simplicity's sake. Now if I try to access a character in this string, then I cannot do that because in Rust, as far as I've read, strings in Rust are UTF-8 encoded. So basically the problem with this line is that at the index 0 is not for sure that what I'm accessing is an entire character or just a byte of its composing bytes. Basically, if I had this as my first character, then by accessing it like this, then I cannot get the entire character but only its first byte, which is something unfamiliar or strange, or let's say non-predictable. And so what the advantage of a byte literal of a byte string is that you can access bytes via an index, just like you are very likely used to, because it is known for sure that this string is just a sequence of bytes, which is essentially the reason why you are not allowed to do that, because it simply breaks the rules. And I think this would be it for this video. It was just a nice discovery that I made about strings. I'm still trying to make my way through the documentation, because the page here that I have seems to be the reference, whereas I came here from this page, which is the Rust programming language book. They look quite similar, so it's kind of easy to mix them. But anyway, that is very useful that this information exists. And yeah, I think that's a very nice feature of Rust, because it allows you to because it kind of forces you to know what you are working with, and basically by declaring the scope of your string, it makes the code more predictable and I guess less prone or completely easier to avoid errors. This will be it for this video. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.